And also, I don't really understand the billionaires. What do they do with their money? Nothing, right? I mean, there's the news about Betsy DeVos's, what, 10 yachts? Or no, 9 yachts? She's cutting school funding, but she has 10 yachts. What do you do with 10 yachts? Like, what do you do with it? Do you like go in one yacht like a different yacht per day of the week, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why? Imagine you have one yacht, and you're like, why don't I buy 9 more of these? What do you do with them? How many? One yacht per house? Like, how many days do you even get off? Like, how many days of holiday do you even give yourself in a year? How much time do you actually spend on those yachts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It's 18, right? And then we put 2 of these in the middle. No, I counted wrong. Alright, one more. Q says 1 in Hawaii, Great Lakes, East Coast, West Coast, Europe, South America. What if I have a yacht in every city, and then I also pay people to go yachting on my yachts? Just so I'm not wasting the yachts, right? So I buy the yachts, and then I pay you to go on a cruise in my yacht. Because, I mean, look, if you have a factory and you're not producing anything, wouldn't you just sell the factory? You would, right? So if you have a yacht and you're not using it, wouldn't you just like sell the yacht? Or is that too logical? Like, does that make too much sense? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is bizarre. Like, I am quite convinced that most rich people just have no idea what they're doing with their money. No, you're right, Q. I'd be bad at being rich. And by that, I mean I would just give my money to people who need it more than I do, is what I would do if I'm rich. And maybe that means I'm bad at being rich. You're right. No, but if I have that much money, Q, I can just rent a yacht wherever I go. It's like, it doesn't even... Why do I need to... Why do I need to own anything? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's No, it's just a waste of money. People just waste their money. I'm, I do like agree with the argument that people should not be allowed to have that much money because they just do stupid things with it after a while. I mean, beyond a certain point, people just do stupid things with money. I mean, when you're poor, you're like, okay, we need food, housing, education, healthcare. Like when you're poor, you spend all your money on actual useful things. And but then past a certain point, you just have like 20 yachts, and you're like, why do I have 20 yachts? And like they don't even know why they do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Q says yachts are a massive waste. Yeah, I've heard the trope that there are two favorites days in a yacht owner's life: the day they bought the yacht and the day they sell it. Yeah. That's what I mean, Q. Like, what do you do with the yacht all the other times when you're not in it? That's what I mean by renting. It's like, why don't you just like, I don't know, rent a nice yacht, and then you don't have to deal with it when you're not using it. But it goes the same for even like mansions. Like if you have a mansion with 100 rooms in it, wouldn't you like just never visit 90 rooms of your house? If you have a giant mansion, I can bet you that there's like certain rooms that you just never visit. You just never go to those rooms, ever. Right? There's like an upper limit to how much your fat ass can occupy a room. Like your body can only be in one room at a time of your giant mansion. Oh, I just realized. Oh no, I'm just missing this. Okay, this is fine. Put those in. So 1 is a 1 is a 1. Great. I guess what I'm saying is everything that's an optimum where you can have too little and too much, right? Like if your house is too small, you'd notice. And then there's an optimum amount of space where you occupy all the space in your house. And then after that is a waste. Like, okay, so Q says library, exercise. How much do you really exercise? I don't exercise, so I don't need that. Media, computer. I mean, I just put the computer and the media in the same room. Kitchen, of course you need. Bedroom, yes. Ensuite. Guest room, sure. Dining room, family room. So you like 7 quarters. Q. Alright, Q exercises a lot. That's good. Good for you, Q. You're better. You're a better person than I am because I don't exercise. Servants' quarters. See what I mean? This is what I mean, Q. Is you buy a house with extra rooms, then you pay people to live in those rooms. That's what a servant's quarters is. You're paying people to live in your house. This is what I mean by paying people to go in your yacht. At some point, you're actually paying people to live in your house. Like it's not even a joke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 probably have their own house though, a cozy little 3,000 square foot cottage. Yeah, no, great. So you have a separate house. You have a separate house where you pay people to live in that separate house. Like you're not even renting out the separate house. You're paying other people to live in it. Nice. And to be honest, I'm okay with that because you're giving them a job, right? You're actually paying them. You're a job creator if you do that. I guess in terms of houses, the thing I'm concerned about is the people who like buy investment properties and just leave them empty. if I remember right, a lot of the apartments around Central Park in New York are actually just empty most of the time. Because people buy those properties because they're worth a lot and the price keeps going up. But they don't actually live in New York, and they can't rent it out because nobody can afford the rent to live in those expensive houses. So a lot of the apartments, I think, around Central Park, actually nobody lives in them. Which is bonkers. It's completely backwards, right? You have houses so expensive that nobody can live in them. So why do they even exist? Rich people and their money. Yeah, no, like past a certain point, people just do stupid things with money. I swear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. Q says Vancouver here in British Columbia had that problem too. They introduced a special tax to reduce that. Yeah, I think you do need that. As cost of living is insanely high, 80% of average income is living. I mean, yeah, no, that sounds... It's a market failure, I'm pretty sure. Alright, so I've been thinking about this recently, Q. The difference between goods that appreciate in value over time and goods that depreciate in value over time. Right? So anything that's expected to increase in value over time, you encourage scarcity. Whereas anything that decreases in value over time, you encourage consumption. Is what I'm thinking. And if you consider the difference between like a loaf of bread versus, say, a fine wine, right? A fine wine that increases in value over time, you don't want to drink it. Whereas a loaf of bread, if it's gonna go stale next week, you want to eat it within the week. Q says rent for 900 square feet in a nominal area, Canadian 2,120, expensive area 2,700. What is that, like a week? A month? Is that a month or a week? It's a month, right? No, this can't be a week. A month, alright. So basically you work your ass off just to pay the rent. Sounds like a Monopoly game, really. You know, Monopoly is about that. It's about renting. How you end up in a situation where all your money goes into rents and you still go bankrupt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we go down here. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so all of that looks good, I think. And then the other side bit. Which is 2 blocks in and then 5 blocks in. Q says, yeah, but it was perceived to be that bad in the 90s when I first got here, and I didn't buy then for that reason. I'd be a multi-millionaire now if I had. Area I was looking into now, less than $1 million. From 200k then could have bought, which is worse. I mean, yeah, but the thing is, if you bought, you're contributing to the problem. I mean, ethically, you'd be contributing to the housing bubble. if you bought. Yes, you would have gotten a lot richer, but you're part of the problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, it's not 5. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I suppose I should just raise it up a block here. Actually, no, I can't because I hit my head on the ceiling. Q says, is it a bubble if it's been going for 30 years now? I guess it's not. I guess you're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. But you'd still be contributing to the house price bubble. One, two, three, four, 5. Q says, well, I'm not saying it's not. I still think it should crash. Yeah, I mean, it should. But that's the thing with housing. Like, it's not like bitcoins. Housing is its own special problem. I really do think housing should not be a free market thing. There are so many problems with free market housing. And most of them, as I said, I believe stems from the fact that house prices tend to increase over time as opposed to decrease over time. Let me just check this. Straight out, right? Wait, why is it 5 then? Oh, it's because it's that, okay. So down and down and down. So 1 is 1 is 1, great. And then we have to do the other side. Which, if we use the gold, but the thing is, you needed to buy 2 houses, Q. Because if you only bought 1 house back then, sure, you'd be a millionaire, but you can't sell because you have to live in the house. Unless you move somewhere else. So if you just bought 1 house, you're not actually any richer because, yeah, you're a millionaire, but you can't spend the money. It's money you can't spend. If you bought 2 houses, you live in one, you rent out the other, then you'd be rich. If you only bought 1 house, then you're only breaking even. You're not actually richer than before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me put that there. So that's a 1. 5. Q says, well, that's the thing regarding my situation. I never liked the city and moved to the island in the late 90s. I mean, in the end, Q says, so I should have bought 5 to 10 years later, sold, or even held it and moved here to rent. I don't know, Q. I mean, if you had more money, what would you do with it? What? Buy a yacht? Let's say you had done that. What would you do with the money anyway? Would you pay someone to rent your yacht? Or like pay someone to go on your yacht for you?